Hello everyone. Welcome to this session on CAT preparation. Now in today's discussion, I'm going to answer a very important question that most of you must be having in your head. And the question is, what is the time needed to crack this exam? Now, let me try to answer this question very practically. I'll give you reasons for everything. I hope by the end of the session, I'll be able to convince you with my answer. Now, think of this. Whenever you study on a daily basis, how do you quantify it? How do you measure it? Do you measure it in terms of minutes or do you measure it in terms of hours? What is the usual system? What do you follow? So most of you would be measuring it in terms of hours, right? So let's say you're done with a study session and you will comment, okay, I studied for 2 hours, I studied for 3 hours, I studied for 4 hours. So we have this habit of measuring specifically our study sessions in terms of number of hours. So I'm going to answer this question in terms of number of hours. See, I can very well answer this in terms of number of months or number of days. However, that will not make a lot of sense. Okay. So let me try to answer this question in terms of number of hours because that is what we follow, right? So to give you a number straight up front, the ideal threshold is 1,000 hours. So let me make it very clear. This is the ideal threshold. Now, why am I calling it ideal? Because 1,000 hours, if you do it the proper way, I'll tell you how to go about it. We'll get into the nitty-gritty of the details. But if you spend 1,000 hours efficiently towards your preparation, you are well equipped to become the 100 percentiler in the exam. Now, whether you get it or not, that's a different story altogether, but you will be well equipped. You will have every weapon in your arsenal. Okay. And it does not matter when you start, whether you start in the month of Jan or Feb or March or April or even in June or July, till the time you can exploit those 1,000 hours, you will be well equipped. Okay, and that's the primary reason I'm trying to answer this in terms of number of hours. Okay, so I've explained to you why this 1,000-hour figure is an ideal figure, and I'm calling it a threshold figure. In my opinion, if you really want to do everything properly, if you do not want to leave anything on luck or by chance, you need to go through this grind. Okay, see, all of us are not lucky, right? See, you might be able to crack CAT in even 600 hours, but let me tell you, you would be an exception case. So if you want to keep everything under your control, if you want to do everything properly, you have to go through this grind of 1,000 hours. Now, what is the breakup of this 1,000 hours? I'll explain that in some time. Okay. So as we move on this discussion, you'll understand everything about these 1,000 hours. What is the breakup of it? What are the components of it? Every component takes how many hours? And I'll explain you everything as we move on. Okay. But I hope I have answered the question. The time needed to crack CAT, a very simple, very blunt answer, it is 1,000 hours. Now, time required to crack this exam, I've told you, it's 1,000 hours. This is the ideal threshold. Okay. Now, before we go ahead, for this discussion, I have kept a tentative date for CAT and I've taken it to be 31st of October. Now, this is a dummy date that I've taken. Okay. So for all our calculations, we'll assume CAT to happen on 31st of October. See, more often than none, it will happen later than that. But for our calculation purpose, we need to fix something, right? So I'm fixing the CAT date to be 31st of October. It's a dummy date. It's a hypothetical number that I'm taking here. Okay, so 31st of October, keep that in mind. Okay, so for planning purposes, we are keeping 31st October for all of our calculations. Now coming back to these 1,000 hours, how are we going to break these 1,000 hours? So we are going to break these 1,000 hours into three components. Okay, 500, 500 plus 200 plus 300. Remember this breakup: 500 plus 200 plus 300. Okay, this 500 out of 1,000 hours, this we will keep for preparation. So the preparation time, we have taken it to be 500 hours. So 500 out of 1,000, that is 50% of your total time. Okay. Now, when I say preparation, you can do preparation in one of the two ways. The first way is you go for self-study And the second way is you take some assistance or you take some coaching. For example, I run a coaching institute. Let's say you join my course. That will be the example of assisted coaching. Okay. Now, whether you do it via self-study or you do it via assisted coaching, you need to efficiently utilize 500 hours for your preparation. Now, when I say preparation, preparation means number one, covering all the concepts of every topic. Number two, while going through the concepts, solving all the representative questions. So basically, preparing means taking care of concepts, getting some command over it, and solving some representative questions just to understand the anatomy of a topic. So that's your preparation time. So preparation time, I think 500 hours is good enough to cover everything that you need to cover with respect to this exam. Okay. Now, after you're done with your preparation, what do? You revise. Many times you improvise, because once you reach a certain level of maturity, you start putting in some of your own elements to the process, right? And that brings about a lot of changes, a lot of new things, which you would want to add to your preparatory notes, right? So after you're done with your preparation, let's say you cover a particular topic in month X. 3 months after that, you should feel the need to revise that topic. So still you're spending some time for revision of that previous topic. So for that also we need to segregate, we need to keep some time separate, right? So for that we have taken 200 hours. So these 200 hours is for revision as well as post preparation self-study. So any kind of improvisation you want to make, that is included here. So in totality, we have got 700 hours out of 1000 hours for preparation, revision, practice, improvisation. Again, I'll repeat: preparation, practice, revision, improvisation. So for that, we have got 700 hours. So basically at the end of this 700 hour, you should become a master of the topic. Every if and every but should be known. Your weak topic should have been converted into your strength topics. Basically, all the problems should get fixed at the end of these 700 hours. I hope you're okay with this breakup. So have you understood 500? Yes, right? It means what? Preparation. What does preparation mean? Covering a topic in its depth and its width and solving some representative questions. Now, what are representative questions? See, while going through any topic, you go through a certain number of questions, which helps you to understand or get a command over that particular topic, right? So going through representative questions is included in these 500 hours. And after you're done with that, you might want to practice few more questions just to get that confidence, right? So that's a part of improvisation. That is not needed, that is not mandatory, but you're still doing it just to get that extra edge. So that is included in these 200 hours. And once you start covering a lot of topics go in the past. So there comes the need of revision. So that revision time is also included in these 200 hours. So 700 hours out of 1000 hours, I hope it is understood. Okay. Now, once you're done with your preparation, you start assessing yourself, right? So when I say assessment, it could be in the form of mock tests, could it be in the form of topic tests, could be in the form of sectional tests, right? But the major form of assessment which I am considering right now is your mock tests, full length mock tests, which replicates the actual exam, right? So you take mock tests and post every mock you do remedial analysis. You try to fix your problems, right? So assessment as well as remedial analysis in my process should take around 250 to 300 hours. Okay. And now this is assuming that you're going to hit this number of 20 mocks. So if you're planning to take 20 mocks, the assessment plus analysis time should consume around 250 to 300 hours. Okay. So I hope the breakup is absolutely clear. 500 plus 200 plus 300. This is the breakup of 1000 hours. Are we okay till this point? A quick yes will help me. I hope the breakup is understood. Okay, great. Now, 1000 hours, if you divide it by 24, we know that one day is equal to 24 hours, right? So if I want to convert 1000 hours into some number of days, that comes to 41.67 days. So this is 41.67 days that you're going to dedicate for this CAT preparation. Okay. So just an interesting number which I wanted to throw at you. So 1000 hours is equal to 41.67 days. So approximately 42 end-to-end days you're going to spend for this important event of your life. I'm hoping that this preparation and this exam is having some importance in your life, right? So in this slide we had discussed the story of 1000 hours. Now in this slide I have created a table. Basically, depending on your prep start month, we'll try to figure out the number of hours needed every day to achieve the target of 1000 hours. So in your head, now CAT preparation should translate to 1000 hours target. So in your head, it is no more preparing for CAT. It is no more cracking CAT. It should be achieving the target of 1000 hours. Okay. So the table is self-explanatory. I'll just explain one row of the table. The rest of the rows you can easily understand. So let's say you start your preparation in the month of May. Okay. So till 31st of October, which is our hypothetical CAT date, we have got 180 days, right? So what I've done here is I've divided 1000 hours, which is our ultimate target, with the given number of days. And we end up getting 5.55. So this 5.55 is the number of hours that you need to spend every day for 180 days to achieve the target of 1000 hours, given you start in the month of May, right? So depending on the prep start month, you can see the number of hours to be given for CAT prep every day. And the table should tell you that the later you start, so let's say you start in the month of July, okay, you can still crack it, you can still do it. Okay, you can still do it very properly, very nicely, without making any compromises. But see the kind of efforts you'll need. You'll have to spend 8.33 hours every day. And this is apart from everything else that you do, apart from your sleeping, apart from your daily course, apart from your work life, college life, etc., etc. Apart from everything else that you do, you need to dedicate 8.33 hours every day. Is it going to be easy? Definitely not. Okay, because you have to do it every day. It has to be very consistent. So the message which comes out of this table is the earlier you start, the more relaxed your preparation can be, right? So you can spend some time on this table, and depending on your current scenario, you can understand how many hours you need to spend every day to cover the target of, to achieve the target of 1000 hours. So what are the conclusions that we can draw from that slide? The first conclusion, the earlier you start, the more relaxed your preparation can be. Second conclusion, if you are a working student, it will make more sense to start in or before April or May. The earlier you start, the better you are at it. Okay. You need minimum of 90 days to holistically prepare for CAT, because let's say you have 90 days to prepare for CAT. Again, let's go back to the table. So that is when you start in the month of August, you will have 90 days to 31st of October. You'll have to spend 11.11 hours every day, which is still possible. But if this number goes very crazy, let's say 14, 15 hours every day, that's not practically possible, right? So in terms of a bare minimum, it's 90 days. 90 days is the minimum time that is needed to crack CAT. But would you want to be in this situation? No, right? You would want to be a student who starts the preparation as early as possible so as to bring in more relaxation to the preparation. I hope you're okay with this. Okay. So now moving on to the number of hours, or basically, I'm going to give you a plan here. So this plan is specifically made for non-working students, the students who are not working anywhere and they have the luxury of time with them. So I'll explain this slide. So let me explain one table of this slide. There are 4 tables. Once I explain you one table, everything else should be self-understood. Okay. So let's see. Let's look at this table. The table on the right hand side, right? So basically, given you are a non-working student, and let's say you're starting the month of May. Now to achieve the 1000-hour target, this is the plan that I recommend. So in the month of May, I want you to spend 5 hours every day for your preparation. Okay. So that will lead to a total of 150 hours. So by the end of May, you would have achieved a target of 150 hours. So basically 150 out of 1000 hours is achieved in the month of May. In the month of June, I want you to increase the intensity and spend 6 hours every day. Now that will make it 180 hours for the month. I'm assuming every month is of 30 days, just for the simplicity in calculation. Now, in the month of May, you had collected 150 hours. In the month of June, you have collected 180 hours. That gives you a cumulative of 330 hours. 180 plus 150 is 330. So by the end of June, out of 1000 hours, you have achieved 330. So like this, in the month of July, I expect you to spend 7 hours every day. In the month of August, 7 hours every day. In the month of September and October, 8 hours every day. This way, if you follow, by the end of October, you will be in a situation to achieve a target of 1230 hours. And we only wanted to achieve 1000 hours. So we're keeping a necessary buffer here, okay, for any uncertainties in life. So if anything happens to you, God forbid, but any kind of uncertainty in your life, you'll be prepared for it because you have got 230 hours of buffer. So basically depending on when you start. So if you start in the month of May, this is the table that you need to follow. If you start in the month of June, this is the table you need to follow. If you start in the month of July, this bottom, the right corner table you need to follow. Okay. So it's advisable that you be in a scenario where you either follow this first table on the left side or the table on the right side. Okay. But if not, still by following any of these tables, by following any of the plans given in these tables, you will be able to achieve the target. Look at the numbers here. In the first table, we have got 1230 hours. In the second also, we have got 1230 hours. In the third table, we have got 1080 hours. In the fourth table, we have got 1010 hours. So if you follow any of these plans, you should be able to achieve your target of 1000 hours. Mind you that 1000 hour is an ideal number. Okay, we are not going to compromise on anything if you follow that 1000 hour mark. Are we okay with this? But mind that this table is for non-working students. Working people cannot follow this. Now this table also takes care of one more important aspect. So if you look at, so again, I'll take the example of the second table, the table which is on the right hand side, top right. So here, if you see, if you look at the number of hours spent every day, it's increasing, right? So it also takes care of the fact that the closer you move towards the exam, more intensity is needed. And that should translate in more number of hours. And that is taken care of in this plan, right? So if you follow this plan properly, then you won't have to worry about the required intensity in a given month, right? So in the month of August, whatever intensity is needed to crack this exam, that is being supplied by this plan. So you won't have to think anything beyond this. I hope this is absolutely clear. So this table is for non-working students. Now let's why to leave our working student friends, right? So let's talk about them. So this table is for working students, those who are working. What should they be doing? Because if they are working, they would be working 80% of their days in a given month, right? So in this particular table, I've made an assumption. I'm assuming that you have at least 8 work offs. I'm assuming that you have at least 2 work offs every week. They need not be Saturday, Sunday. They could be any 2 days of the week. So I'm going with the assumption that you guys have 2 work offs. Okay. And I've assumed every month to have 30 days. So these are the 2 assumptions I'm going with. Okay. So I'll explain the table. I explain one row of the table. Once I explain that to you, you should be able to understand the remaining rows by yourself. So let's look at this scenario for the month of May. So I've assumed the number of working days to be 22. So for each of these working days, you'll spend 4 hours every day. Okay. So this is along with your shift. So maybe 2 hours pre-shift and 2 hours post-shift. You can plan it accordingly, according to your convenience. But you need to spend 4 hours every day when you're working. And on your work offs, I'm assuming you have got 2 work offs. So I'm assuming you will have at least 8 work offs. So I'm taking the lower limit, which is 8 work offs. So for each of these 8 days, you're going to spend 6.5 hours every day. The more, the merrier, but the threshold is 6.5 hours every day. So if you follow this, what will happen in the month of May, for working days, in totality, you would have spent 88 hours, 22 into 4. And for your work offs, you would have spent 8 into 6.5 hours, right? So 8 into 6.5 hours. 8 into 6 is 48. 48 plus 4, 52, 52 hours. So in totality, you would have spent 88 plus 52, which is 140 hours in the month of May if you follow this, right? So basically, it's a progressive plan. It is expected that, you know, if you're working, you should start as early as possible. I'm hoping that you have started a bit of your preparation, but if you haven't started till now, you need to make some adjustments to this plan. Maybe you can extend this 4 to 4.5 hours. Maybe you can extend this 6.5 to 7 hours every day. You'll have to make some adjustments. Okay. So now I hope the table is self-explanatory, right? You need to follow this table. See, if you see this table, the table is very wisely made. If you look at the number of hours spent every day when you're working, it's not much. 4 hours, 4 hours, 4.5 hours. Even in the month of August, September, and October, you're just spending 5 hours, which I think is manageable. See, you have to do it. If you want to target this goal, you have to do it. You have to put in some efforts. It's not going to be a cakewalk, right? So don't think that just by studying 2 hours every day, you're going to do it. It's not going to happen. Okay. So I've taken care of that part, that you don't have to exert too much on a working day. And we have made sure that we utilize our work offs really well, right? So this plan takes care of that. Also, in this plan, if you focus on this month of September, I have advised you to take 10 working days as leaves. Now, please be very careful. I've advised you to take 10 working days as leaves. I'm not asking you to include work offs in this. Excluding your work offs, you have to take 10 days as leaves. Now, most of the students, what they do is they take their leaves just before the exam. I'm not a fan of that. You need to plan your leaves strategically. Okay. See, just before the exam, you're not going to do much of your preparation. So we should keep some part of your leaves for the month of September, when your intensity has to be maximum, right? So here I want you to take 10 working days as your leaves. And for those days, you will spend 8 hours every day. And when you have not taken a leave, when you're working, for those 10 days, you'll spend 5 hours every day. And for your regular work offs, you will spend 7 hours every day. So with this plan, in the month of September, you will be able to achieve 186 hours. So if you follow this plan, by the end of October, you'll be able to achieve 1069 hours. And mind that for calculation purpose, we have taken the CAT date to be 31st of October, right? CAT is usually going to happen much after that. So even if you have compromised on some month, let's say you have not started in the month of April, you still have hopes, you still have chances. So you need to make necessary changes if you're starting in the month of May, or if you have less number of work off. So make some necessary changes, but make it work. Don't give up. Make a plan and make it happen. So this slide is specifically for working students. I hope we are absolutely clear with this. Okay, so whether you are a working student or a non-working student, you now have a plan. The plan obviously needs some more details to it, but at least you know how many hours you need to spend every day to achieve that target of 1000 hours, right? Now coming to the main component, what do you need to collect? What weapons do you need in your arsenal to crack this exam? So there you need EQL. It's also the name of our training institute, right? But what does it stand for? So E stands for English, Q stands for quants, and L stands for LRDIs. And these are the three weapons that you need in your arsenal to crack this exam. So the first weapon is E for English. So I'll give you an overview of this section. So this is my breakup of what you need to prepare in English. Okay. This is not as per any book. This is not as per anyone else. This is as per what I feel is needed to crack this exam and all the other exams as well. So this is kind of a universe that we have created for this particular section. Okay. So I've broken English into some components. First component is vocabulary. Then you have grammar. Then you have paragraph structure, reading comprehension, and last is OVAT. OVAT stands for other verbal ability topics. Other verbal ability topics. Now, for some exams, you might not require all of this. For CAT, if you speak at a tangible level, you only need these two blocks, reading comprehension and paragraph structure. But in my process, the way in which I want you to prepare, see, obviously, I want you to prepare for the season and not just one exam. So whether you're preparing for one exam or two exams or for the complete season, you need to take this entire universe if you want to kill it. Okay. So see, I'll have separate discussions on how to prepare for English, how to prepare for quants, how to prepare for LRDI, because they themselves will be quite extended in terms of the duration of discussion. So in this particular discussion, I'm just going to give you an overview. What is English for me with respect to this 1,000 hours funda? So this is English for me. Okay. You can just go through the topics under each and every component. Under vocabulary, we have these topics. Under grammar, we have these topics. Under paragraph structure, we have these topics. RCs, which is the most important aspect of your preparation in English, it has these topics. And other verbal ability topics, it has these topics. So this is a breakup of this English section, an exhaustive breakup. It will help you to prepare for every exam. Okay. Coming to the next one, which is Q. Q for quants, popularly what we call as maths, right? So this is my breakup of the quant section. Again, we'll have a separate discussion on how to prepare for quants in depth. Here, I'm just giving you an overview. So for me, quants needs to be broken into 5 blocks: arithmetic, algebra, numbers, permutation, combinations, distributions, probability, and geometry. So these are the 5 blocks. You need to master each and every block. Okay. Below every block, you can see the list of topics which forms that block. Arithmetic is formed by these topics. Algebra is formed by these topics, and so on and so forth. You can go through the topics particular to each block, and you can understand how am I approaching this quant section. So basically, this is my breakup. Okay, I'm not following any book. It might not align with any particular table of content of any book. This is how I see it. If I want any of my student to get 100 percentile in CAT, I would want them to prepare for all of these topics. And I would not want them to have any of these topics as their weakness. See, what I believe in is that once you go to the examination center, you should not be carrying any weaknesses. You can carry weaknesses as of now, but when you go to the exam hall, you should not be carrying any weaknesses. In your preparation, your goal is to convert your weaknesses into strengths. Okay. So this is the breakup of quants, an exhaustive breakup. If you do this, you're absolutely okay. Okay. Moving to the next one. Arguably the nemesis section for most of the students, because it is tested at a beautiful level, dangerous level for many of you. So L stands for LRDI, logical reasoning, data interpretation, right? I have kept them together because nowadays there is not much of a difference between logical reasoning and data interpretation. Yes, for some exams, you have a clear-cut distinction made between these two areas. But for CAT, which is the daddy exam, which is the superset exam, there is a thin line difference between logical reasoning and data interpretation. Okay. So this is how I break this section. To be very honest, for LRDI, the scope is infinite. The scope is infinite. The syllabus is endless. Okay. So, but you cannot start with this scope, right? You cannot start preparing for something which is not fixed. So just to fix it, this is my breakup of LRDI. So what I've done is I've broken LRDI into these 5 blocks. So first block is your traditional LR topics. Very important to start your preparation. Then traditional data interpretation. You can see the list of topics I've kept under traditional data interpretation. Then you have LRDI. So basically this is template learning for CAT LRDI. ये क्या है, क्यों है, what is in it? All of this will be understood separately in a different discussion. Okay. See, my goal in this discussion is not to tell you everything about LRDI, not to tell you everything about quants, just to give you an overview. The main objective of today's discussion is to be very sorted with respect to the time that is needed to crack this exam so that you can plan it properly. Okay. The next block is bent of mind. See, we all need a good logic bent of mind. If we have the right bent of mind, we can bring in a lot of efficiency. So to get the right bent of mind for this particular section, we will be joining a gym called as Logic Gym. We'll be working out. It will be a logical workout. Okay. So these are the topics which I've kept under Logic Gym, which I recommend to my students. Okay. Then we have some other topics. So this is miscellaneous category. Anything which cannot fit into the previous 4 categories will fit into this category. Okay. So this is my breakup of LRDI. It's an exhaustive breakup in my opinion. If you go through it, you will be well equipped. Okay. So we have gone through the breakup of all the 3 sections, right? Now coming to the time allocation matrix. So I'll start off with quants. Okay. As we know that we have broken quants into 5 major blocks: arithmetic, algebra, geometry, numbers, and PNC probability, right? So remember that 1000 hours funda, right? Remember the breakup. Out of 1000 hours, we had 500 hours for preparation, right? We had 200 hours for revision as well as post prep self study, and we had 300 hours for assessment as well as analysis post assessment. This was the breakup. So basically, this 300, I'm calling it the assessment time, and 500 plus 200, I'm calling it the engagement time, and this 500, I'm calling it the coverage time. Coverage time means time needed to cover preparation as well as to solve representative questions. Okay. And once you merge 500 plus 200, that is when you mix up revision time as well as improvisation time. So together we get the engagement time. So 700 hours is your engagement time. So basically the engagement prior you start with assessment. I hope you're fine with the numbers here. Okay. Now coming back to the table. So for arithmetic, the coverage time is 50 hours and the engagement time should be 75 hours. Okay. Arithmetic is very, very important. I cannot go ahead of this slide without telling you this, that arithmetic is your numero uno topic in quants. Okay. You need to spend 50 hours. I think 50 hours is the ideal time to gain some mastery over this topic. And 75 hours is the engagement time. So mind you, coverage time means preparation and covering representative questions. So you'll be very well versed with the topic when you are done with these 50 hours. But after that, doing that, if you want to practice a bit more, if you want to revise the topic, all of that cumulative will take 75 hours. So mind that the engagement time automatically includes the coverage time. So it is not 50 hours for coverage and 75 hours for engagement. It's not separate. This 50 hours is a subset of 75 hours. I hope you guys are understanding. Now the table should be self-explanatory. For algebra, it is 45 hours and the engagement time should be 60 hours. For geometry, 40 hours, coverage time, engagement time 60 hours. For numbers, 30 hours, engagement time 30 hours. For PNC probability, coverage time 20 hours, engagement time 25 hours. If you add these numbers, your coverage time for quants will be 185 hours and your engagement time for quants will be 250 hours. So mind that coverage time 185 out of a total of 500 and engagement time 250 out of a total of 700. Are we okay with this? These numbers are very well thought of. Okay. You should not be overspending. You should not be underspending. So many a times as I see a lot of students, they go crazy over some topics. So let's say you are a fan of PNC probability and you'll spend 100 hours on it. Does it make sense? By spending 100 hours on a topic which is not very important, it may look important, it may look very glamorous, but it is not important. It is not as important as arithmetic. So the time spent per block should be wisely understood, should be wisely distributed. So that is what we have done here. Okay. So I hope the time allocation matrix for quants is clear. Okay. Now moving on. The time allocation matrix for English. So I hope by now you understand the meaning of coverage time and engagement time, right? So as of the last slide, with quants, we had covered 185 out of 500 and 250 out of 700. So let's see what we have to do with English. So English, grammar, coverage time 35 hours, engagement time 45 hours. Vocab, I have not filled any number here because vocab preparation can take anywhere from 10 hours to 100 hours. So it depends on the kind of student you are and the kind of time that you have, right? If you have less time, don't prepare for it. But if you have luxury of time, go for it. Okay, so I have not kept any number for vocab. It's flexible. You can keep any number instead of this n. Reading level 1, 15 hours, engagement time 15 hours. Reading level 2, coverage time 40 hours, engagement time 40 hours. What is level 1? What is level 2? This requires a separate discussion altogether. Okay. Solving strategies. So see, when you solve a reading comprehension passage, it actually requires you to be good at two things. Number one, reading, and number two, solving. You cannot mix them up at the beginning. You need to master them individually before mixing them. So you need to first master reading, and then you need to master solving. Most of these students, they don't realize this, and at the beginning only they start mixing reading and solving. In that process, they never become good at it. Okay. So once you're done with reading, we'll apply some solving strategies, and for that you need around 10 hours. The same time is your engagement time. Okay. Then you practice after understanding, after mastering reading and solving. So coverage time 15 hours and engagement time 25 hours. Parastructure topics 10 hours, engagement time 20 hours. Critical reasoning 15 hours, engagement time 20 hours. Other verbal ability topics 5 to 6 hours, engagement time should be same. So here, if you see in totality, your coverage time will be 145 hours out of 500 hours, and 180 hours will be your engagement time out of 700 hours, right? So till now, what we have achieved, if you follow this matrix properly, so coverage time, if you see 185, right? And here for English, we have got 145. So 185 plus 145. So till now we have got 330 hours out of 500 hours. This takes care of coverage of quant as well as English topics. And for the complete engagement, 230 hours needed for quants, and sorry, let me go to the correct slide. 250 hours needed for quants and 180 hours needed for English. So 250 plus 180, that is 530 hours. 530 out of 700. This is total engagement time needed for these two. 250 plus 180. Sorry, this is 430 hours, not 530. 430. My bad. Okay. So coverage time is 330 out of 500 and engagement time is 430 out of 700. I hope you're okay till this point. I hope the table was self-understood, right? Because I've already explained the meaning of coverage time and engagement time. Now moving to logic, LRDI. So traditional logic should take 30 hours, and for engagement, you'll spend 50 hours. So there's 20 hours extra that we have kept for some more practice, because that is needed for traditional logic. For data interpretation, 10 hours coverage time for the classical types, and engagement time 25 hours. So if you see here, we need a lot of practice. Just knowing the concepts will not help you. You need to practice it. So that's the reason the engagement time is multi-folds when compared to the coverage time. Then CAT LRDI template learning. So for CAT LRDI, you need to carry out two kinds of learning processes. Number one, template learning, and number two, set-based learning. You can see the coverage time and engagement time here. Then we'll spend some time consistently on Logic Gym. The keyword is consistently. You have to do it every day. So for Logic Gym, we'll spend around 30 hours in total. And we'll solve some OMET puzzles. So OMET puzzles are basically your level 1, level 2 puzzles. OMET stands for Other Management Entrance Test. So the kind of puzzles which are usually asked in other exams except for CAT, I'm calling them OMET puzzles. Puzzles based on arrangements, family tree, directions, multivariables, etc., etc. These are your classical puzzles. So we'll spend around 20 hours on preparation and 25 hours in terms of engagement. So in totality, you'll spend 170 hours out of 500 hours on coverage of LRDI and 230 hours out of 700 hours on engagement. So now if you add all these numbers up, we had 330 hours for quants and English for coverage. Now we have got 330 plus 170, which is 500 out of 500 hours for coverage. And we had 430 hours for engagement, right? For the previous two blocks. Now we add 230, we'll get 660.
So 660 hours out of 700 hours. So it is very close to 700, right? So there's a 40 hours buffer, because everything won't happen as per your plan, right? A lot of things will not happen as per your plan. So you need to always keep that buffer in mind. So these numbers takes care of all that, okay? Because first of all, we have taken a hypothetical CAT date to be 31st of October, right? So you must be having more time. But having said that, it also does not guarantee that you are strictly following the plan. You could be a student who has not started in the right month. You could be a student who has started late. You could be a student who has realized late. So a lot of other factor kicks in. So there has to be a buffer for everything. So we have taken care of all that in this plan. You just need to follow this plan religiously. Okay. So I hope I've also answered how much time to spend per section, be it English, be it quants, be it logic. And within those sections, there are those major blocks. I've also given you the answer to the question, how much time to be spent per block per section. I hope you're okay with it. We'll get into the depth. We'll also further break it in a different discussion. So when I discuss how to prepare for quants, how to prepare for LRDI, how to prepare for English, in those discussions, we'll break the blocks into the topics. I hope you're absolutely clear with it. I hope this session has been of some value addition to you. I hope it has at least answered this very important, very crucial question in your head. How much time is needed to crack this exam? I hope I've made some logical sense. Okay. Now, before I end the session, I'll just take you through the course that we have for our students. Okay. We call it the super course. So you just need to go to courses.eqlclasses.com. You'll get a bunch of online bundles out there. And there is this bundle called EQL Super Online Bundle. Now, this is our flagship course. This takes care of CAT as well as other management entrance test, be it CET, NMAT, SNAP, XAT, IFT, CMAT. So it takes care of all these exams. It's the only course in the country which prepares you for CAT as well as OMETs with equal enthusiasm. Okay. It's kind of a one-stop solution. You can go through the course overview. I would encourage you to go through the course overview. You'll realize the features that we have in this course. Please go through it in your free time. Now, if you see, this is a bundle that you buy. Now, this bundle is made out of well-segmented, well-structured courses so that there is always direction in your preparation. It should not be rambled, right? Your preparation should be well-directed. So if you see, what we have done is we have broken the bundle into different blocks: arithmetic course, numbers course, algebra course, geometry course, PNC probability, distributions, LRDI infinite, logical reasoning, DI, DSDC, grammar, reading comprehension, parastructure, critical reasoning, verbal, abstract reasoning, abstract action plan strategies. So it's very well segmented so that you are never lost. You always know what you are doing. Okay. And once you go through the course over, you'll understand what we are offering here. Okay. I sincerely believe that this is the best course in the country for preparation for these exams, but you should not take my word for it. We have around 25 plus hours of free demo sessions. And trust me, those demo sessions are not our best content. Those are just randomly selected content so that you can test us at a random level. So once you check out the course overview, you can enroll as a free user and you can scout for those free sessions. Those free demo sessions are available throughout the bundle. You need to find them. If you find any difficulty, you feel free to contact us, because that will help you to take the right decision. So if you're considering taking assisted coaching, do consider us, sample our demos. And if you find them interesting, if you see that them meeting your expectations, I will welcome you, because this course, I wish if I was a student, I wish for this course. I would have wished for this course. The course is so beautifully designed. So with that said, let me wrap the session. I will see you in a different discussion. I hope you are doing well. Take care. Bye-bye.